Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Charlie Neeson. Welcome to Hotspot Weather, where we take a look at a few of the weather hotspots across the country, and appreciate you joining me here on the 5th of July, 2025. Hope you had a great 4th. There are some very active weather spots to talk about, and we're going to be highlighting those in Hotspot Weather here in just a moment. But look, I know there are a lot of weather channels across YouTube you could be visiting. Appreciate you spending some time right here with me on Hotspot Weather. All right, the first weather hotspot we're going to be talking about, this is along the East Coast across North Carolina, South Carolina. This is for Tropical Storm Chantal, where we can see surf that's increasing. We're also going to be seeing some gusty winds. Fortunately, right now it looks like it's going to make landfall as a tropical storm rather than a hurricane. We'll highlight that here in just a moment. This second area, multiple days of severe weather risk across the plains, back into the lee side of the Rockies. We're seeing a pattern that's kind of locked up. So waves of thunderstorms will be affecting this area with high winds and hail. Can't rule out a few isolated tornadoes as well. I'll be talking more about that here in just a moment. Let's take a look at the watch warning map across the United States. We do have those tropical storm watches and warnings across the coast of mainly South Carolina, but it also extends into southern North Carolina as well. I'll be talking more about that here in just a moment. We also have these areas in Texas. You'll see the green. Those are flash flood watches, and we also have warnings continuing for parts of central Texas where we have seen devastating flash floods and multiple fatalities as we went through July 4th, now into July 5th, where we continue to see more rain. And then also across the Northeast, we see heat advisories that are in effect for parts of New England. Now, much of the rest of the country is very hot, but we're abnormally hot across the Northeast. So up into New England, we do have heat advisories that are in effect. All right. From the Hurricane Center, National Hurricane Center says Chantal this morning, as of the morning of the 5th, has winds of 40 miles an hour, and it continues to kind of drift around. It is expected to make landfall over the next 36 hours, and we could see a little bit of strengthening. Winds are 40 miles an hour now, could strengthen to about 45 miles an hour as we head through the next 36 hours, and is expected to make landfall. Here where the watches and warnings are. The tropical storm warnings are in effect from South Santee River in South Carolina to Cape Fear, North Carolina. That's where the worst of the conditions are expected to be. We also have tropical storm watches that are in effect from Edisto Beach to South Santee River in South Carolina. So if you live in those areas, please be paying attention to your local authorities and your local watches and warnings. All right, let's take a look at what the computer models are forecasting with Chantal, and then we'll get to the chances of severe weather across the plains here in just a moment. As we go through the day on the 5th, it slowly strengthens, again going from about 40 to 45 miles an hour. You can see the rain shield really expands with it, and it's expected to make landfall late Saturday night the 5th into the early morning hours of Sunday the 6th. As around 45 mile per hour wind tropical storm. You can see this is during the overnight. This is around 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday the 6th. The core of it is making landfall, so should make landfall by the time we get to daybreak on Sunday. But make sure that you, again, pay attention to local watches and warnings as this system could be changing in strength and exact location of where it's going to be making landfall over the next 36 hours. And with any tropical storm, your biggest threat is going to be coastal flooding, some very heavy rainfall in areas inland after the storm hits, and also some gusty winds that will be affecting those coastal areas as well. All right, here is the risk of severe weather over the next 2 to 3 days. First of all, we have a level 2 out of 5 risk across the plains and really centered over Montana, where we're going to be seeing multiple waves of thunderstorms that will start up to the northwest and then drift down to the southeast. I'll show you that on the radar here as well in the computer model forecast data. And then as we head into your Sunday, we do continue with the risk of severe weather, again, out over the plains and on the lee side of the Rockies, a level 2 out of 5, that slight risk for parts of Kansas up into Nebraska and also eastern parts of Colorado. And finally, on Monday, as we start the work week again, basically the same area seeing at least a level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather, mainly across parts of Kansas into Nebraska. And I'm going to show you here on the radar, we're going to be seeing some very heavy rains across this area as well on the forecast radar, as multiple waves of thunderstorms will be developing in these general areas. Here's a bigger overview. This is the global forecast system, the GFS model. You can see, first of all, Chantal is going to be affecting South Carolina up into North Carolina. And then we have areas of thunderstorms across the plains, but we're going to be seeing these thunderstorms really develop as we go through the afternoon and evening on those areas that are highlighted with that risk of severe weather, and then multiple days of the same thing developing in the same areas here. And as we go into your Monday, the same thing, thunderstorms developing in these same areas as little waves of energy are rippling through the jet stream, helping to trigger that. The rest of the country will be seeing scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially across the eastern part of the country. Even outside of Chantal, we're going to be seeing a pattern where thunderstorms during the heat of the day return across much of the eastern part of the country. And the southwest is really heating up. And also we're going to be seeing the southeast heat up as well. So here's the way the HRRR computer model is forecasting those thunderstorms to develop in waves. And you can see as we go through the morning on the 5th, thunderstorms pushing off into parts of Missouri and Iowa. They will weaken, and then more thunderstorms blossoming on the east side of the Rockies, moving back into the same areas. Again, any of these could be severe with locally high winds and hail. Can't rule out a few isolated tornadoes. This is as we head through the evening hours on Saturday. And then as we go through the overnight hours, those weaken a bit and then refire as we go into Sunday with a line of thunderstorms from South Dakota back into Nebraska, back into parts of western Texas, again in those same areas highlighted by that risk of severe weather. So Saturday into Sunday and even into Monday, multiple waves of thunderstorms with hail and high winds. Can't rule out a few isolated tornadoes, but look out for flash flooding where we see some of these areas really starting to see the areas of rainfall piling up. And speaking of flash flooding, we've had the devastating floods over parts of Texas, and we continue to see rainfall the morning of the 5th. We have those flash flood watches in effect. We even have a couple of flash flood warnings still in effect. But as we go through the day on the 5th, that pattern should weaken, and we should really start to gradually see the rains let up, and gradually conditions will be improving there for the folks that are going to need a lot of time and help in recovery there. All right, here's the way the Climate Prediction Center is forecasting what's going to be happening over the next 8 to 14 days. You can see that pretty much we've got near normal conditions as far as temperatures are concerned across the central part of the country, with above average across the Mountain West. And we also have above average rainfall returning to much of the southeast. We had a little bit of a break over the last few days. The pattern continues where we've had a very, very wet spring and summer across the southeast. Places like Nashville, Knoxville, areas around Birmingham, Alabama, and then all the way down to the Gulf Coast. And that's going to be setting back up and continuing as we head in through the next 8 to 14 days, according to the Climate Prediction Center. Well, if you need help formulating your severe weather safety plan for your family, check out this video. And also, if you would like more information on tornadoes and severe weather safety, including now some hurricane safety tips, check out my YouTube shorts. And until I see you again, stay safe.